Student accommodation cladding fire. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, I'm Florian Heise and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I'm here with my stein of coffee and I thought today we would have a look at this article from Sky News. It's about a cladding fire in the UK. Now, this is 45 crews tackle flames crawling up cladding at student flats. And this was brought to my attention by a viewer because, well, we've got a lot of issues with cladding fire safety here in Australia, particularly with the flammable cladding. You've got the aluminium composite, which is an issue. Now you've got the polystyrene cladding, which is also an issue. And I initially, looking at this these photos here, and I went on the Google Earth, I initially thought it was an aluminium composite cladding that may be causing the issue here as well. But what I did is I jumped into Google Earth and I had a look around at the back of the building, and you can see here, how there's actually fixing points here, and just the expression of the joints. Now, this is what you do with aluminium cladding. You don't screw fix it because, well, you'll damage the aluminium, scrape off the protective coating, and there could be some oxidization and some, electronegative differences between the screw and the cladding, and it's going to rust and water will get in. Normally with the aluminium composite cladding, you actually glue it on. This is what you would do, and in Australia it would be a fibre cement product. In the UK, I'm not familiar with what they do. It could be maybe a type of timber product or something else, or it could be fibre cement as well. In Australia, it'd be painted fibre cement, even pre-finished. You can see here all around just the screw fixings go all the way up. So let's jump back and have a look at this article. So emergency services have not confirmed any casualties from the blaze, which broke out on Friday night. Now, here in Australia, with the fire cladding issues, the government is refusing to release this information. Their concern, or they're claiming, is arson. Now, I would argue the major risk in these buildings, which are habitable, is the people occupying them. And now we have a sharing economy, Airbnb and such. You're going to have people that are occupying buildings that need to be made aware that there's a potential risk, because something as simple as a cigarette could start a fire. And that's why I'd argue that it needs to be made public. So 2 people have been injured after a large fire broke out at student accommodation in Bolton, Greater Manchester. At least 40 fire crews have been tackling the Friday night blaze at the 6-story building known as the Cube in Bradshawgate. And just think about that, 6 stories. Remember that, guys. It was evacuated, and one witness said flames were crawling up the cladding like it was nothing. Oh, and here's some images. Just, you can see, and this is from a distance away, how ferocious the fire was. Greater Manchester Fire and Rescue Service said 2 people have been treated for injuries at the scene. One of the patients had been rescued by crews using an aerial platform. Witness, Ace Love, 35, is that a real name? Said the fire kept getting more intense, climbing up and to the right because the wind was blowing so hard. We could see it bubbling from the outside and then began engulfed from the outside, and then being engulfed from the outside. A lot of students got out very fast. Someone was very distressed. The rest were on phones calling for help, which is good. The fire got worse and worse to the point where you could see through the beams. It was just bare frame. University of Bolton student Shannon Parker, 22, who lives in the building, said, "I was in my room whilst it was happening. I heard the fire alarm going off, but it kept on going off, so I just thought it was a drill at first, until one of my flatmates shouted down the corridor that it was a real fire." See, this is the problem. You get desensitized to these alarms, don't you? So I ran out of the flat as quickly as I could, and I saw that it was one of the flats below mine, and we were out by the fire exit. So remember that too, okay? Because we'll theory craft what could have happened. So firefighters are tackling flames on the top floors of the student accommodation. I mean, there you go. That's quite dramatic. The fire service was called at 8:30 p.m. The blaze was still going on Saturday morning. We have divided the fire itself into 4 sections of firefighting. allowing us to target our efforts on particular hotspots. The Fire Service Area Manager, Jim Hutton, said in a statement, "While the building does remain on fire, we are doing all we can to stay on top of this situation and soon extinguish the flames." So, President and Vice Chancellor of the University of Bolton, Professor George E. Holmes, DL, said, "Supporting the welfare of our students is our #1 priority, and we've moved swiftly to assist in any way we can." He said students have been offered temporary alternative accommodation at another set of student halls and in local hotels. They have also been offered food and toiletries. He added, "I would like to stress that the Cube is not owned by the University of Bolton. It is owned and managed by a private landlord, and the students were not on our premises during this incident." Okay. Greater Manchester Police, Bolton North, said a number of road closures are in place. Secretary of State Housing and Communities, Local Government Robert Jenrick tweeted to say officials are ready to offer assistance if required. Now, if we jump back here and we'll have a look at the building. So if we look from a distance here, it looks like it's, the snazzy aluminium composite that's been causing us issues, from a distance. But when we get closer, you can see here, no, it's not. So it's either an FC cladding, potentially, or maybe something else. There you go, look at that side. I think that's a warping in the photo from Google, at least I hope it is. So it could be an older building that was extended upon, particularly if we have a look. Oh wait, no, this is that the building? Yeah? Yeah, it is. Okay, so was it an old brick building that was extended? Maybe a new one built at the back? Potentially. Potentially. Okay, so there's a few things to consider with these type of buildings, and particularly with the cladding. Now, what we'll do is we'll just have a quick look here. And we have, this is the Australian National Construction Code. I don't know what they're doing in the UK, but this is the principles still apply. Now, say you've got one floor to another, okay, and you have here a spandrel panel, and that has a minimum height and a fire rating. That's because, say if there's a fire in here, a fire down here, we'll make it red, and smoke starts coming out. The idea is, say the curtains caught on fire here, and the smoke came out and went up, and there wasn't a spandrel panel, came in, the smoke would be hot enough to ignite the curtains, and then the fire can spread all the way up. The idea of the spandrel panel is to stop the smoke, as well, to cool the smoke down before it gets in there, so it's not going to catch things on fire. Okay, and here we have another instance. Here we have another instance, and this could be related to what happened. So you've got a non-combustible spandrel material. You've got a window, and in this circumstance here, it is a curtain wall. But what's important here is this little piece of non-combustible material here. So this is, if you get a fire in here, or burning here, or hot smoke going in here, it won't catch fire and spread up, because it'll be a chimney effect, and it will shoot up the building. And I had a good talk to Rachel about this, because she did her thesis on this topic, and it's quite concerning. Every time, all of this legislation and rules that we have, it's paid for by people dying, to be quite honest. That's what's happened. And what we'll do is we'll just jump here and we'll have a look. I mean, this is, I'll zoom in as much as I can. Now, what do we have here? Does that look like timber to you guys? It could be a timber structure. And notice here, it could be that this is where the fire started. That it started in this window down here, went up, maybe went over, caught into this. Maybe the window frame heated up, and then the fire was caught in the cavity and went up. Maybe there wasn't appropriate, fire, a non-combustible material there in it, and then once it got going in the cavity and just weren't ripe, or maybe the cladding wasn't a non-combustible material like we would have here in Australia. So, oh, wait a minute, you can't actually see what I've zoomed into. Hang on, I will. You can see it here, guys. So this is what I'm talking about here. You can see here how we have a window there, and that's a potential. It looks like it started there and then went up to this floor here. And I'm just theory crafting as to the ways that it could have gone. Maybe the window, it heated up and got the fire went up in the cavity and caused the chimney effect. Maybe that could be what's happening here. It may just be in shadow, or the chimney effect from inside the cavity pulled up all the air to feed the flames, because that was a ferocious flame, guys. It was a ferocious flame. If we go back to here and we can see, I mean, look at that. But here's another question. We'll go back to the Google Earth. I'll jump out to here and I'll just turn on 3D buildings. We'll see if it'll generate it. No, it won't. Okay. We'll go here. Now, the height of the building. Can we measure? Okay, no, you can't measure in this. But the height of the building, that many stories. Why isn't the building sprinklered? Here in Australia, if you're over 25 meters, you need to have the building sprinklered. Is that a requirement in the UK? Isn't all building that was just, extended upon at the top? It looks like it, doesn't it? It looks like that was the traditional height, and it's extended up there. So that's another reason and another question just to have. I mean, this is all theory crafting, guys. This is all theory crafting. I mean, you can see it here at the top. That's where, you could say. So, guys, I mean, it's fortunate that people all got out. But, yeah, these issues in construction are becoming more and more prevalent, and more people are talking about them. And it's something we need to be concerned with here in Australia, particularly with the huge number of buildings that have flammable cladding on them, and just the issues with the product. I mean, we've specified buildings, and I'll tell you what I'll show you. Let's have a look. I mean, right here, this is a job we did in Brisbane, and see, this is an aluminium composite cladding. It looks beautiful. It's nice and smooth, and it's good. We specified it with a fire-rated core, so you don't want, because this is outside. I mean, guys, you can see here, this is all outside. You don't want bits of it to fall down on people as they're running out of the fire exit, as they're escaping from the building. All of this is just pressed metal, aluminium, literally just a thin sheet of pressed aluminium. And so there are circumstances where the material, is fine and the risk can be managed, but we need to, plan for it. We need to be made aware of it, and you need to have clients that are willing to not say, oh no, I want a cheaper one, replace it. Because we had that. We had the builder trying to spec it out with someone else, but the client was adamant they wanted a certain level of product. And that's where the procurement of these buildings needs to be taken into consideration. So guys, let me know what you think. What are your theories as to how this could have started? Please like, share, subscribe, get the video out there. And if you like my channel and you would like to help me produce more content, I do have a Patreon and a Subscribe Star where you can support the channel with a small monthly donation. I also have PayPal and Ethereum if you'd like to donate that way. And I do have Amazon and eBay affiliate links where I get a small kickback if you make a purchase and it doesn't cost you a cent. It's a great way for you to support creators that you like on YouTube or other channels. So guys, take care, have a great day, and I will talk to you later. Bye for now.